Welcome to the Richmond Till I Die podcast. I'm Travis McEnroy and I'm here with Luke Spencer.
How are you, Travie?
Yeah, good, Lukey. What do you know, mate?
Oh, nothing much. Just went down to the footy today, down at Casey Fields. Watched the Tigers and D's play. So, yeah, it wasn't a bad hit out.
We're going to talk a little bit about that, and then we're also going to go into a few other topics here. We've got some our off-season pickups, what we think of Tim Taranto and Jacob Hopper, and then we're going to cruise into the season opener against Carlton, and we're going to talk about that as well.
Sounds good. All things going well. We'll hopefully have a good year this year.
All right, so do you want to kick us off with the off-season pickups there, Lukey?
Yeah, well, I think having or watching the first couple of preseason games, Taranto and Hopper really made a big impact. Like at half-time, we were up in the clearances, and that was a big thing that we really needed to address in the off-season. So I think we gave up a bit for him in terms of picks and future picks, but I think it's really going to pay off for now and in the future just because of their age, and they're on pretty good deals as well. Like they may seem a bit steep now, being $700,000 a year or something over 7 years, but I think in 5, 6, 7 years time, 700,000 is just going to be the average player salary. So
yeah, it's definitely looking that way. I mean, a lot of these young kids coming through, they're already starting on about 200, 250. So by the time they get to, Taranto and Hopper's age, it doesn't matter what position they play, really. A lot of them are probably going to be on that sort of pay packet. So
yeah, for sure. Like I think, even looking at like players like Thompson Dow and stuff like that, like they're probably still earning 300,000-400,000 and probably demanding 700 in a few years' time if they're out of contract. So to get them locked up for 7 years and not being able to hit free agency or anything like that, I think it's a good deal for the Tigers.
I agree, especially Timmy Taranto. Obviously, he's been over the preseason killing all the time trials. He's been winning all of those. He's a running machine. He looks fit, gets a lot of the ball on the inside, but he also uses it well on the outside as well. He also goes forward and kicks goals too, which you love a goal-kicking midfielder.
Yeah, well, like down at Casey Fields today, he did pretty well. I think he got 33 and a goal, so he obviously can push forward and be damaging on the scoreboard as well. So it'd be good to see him alternate with, say, Dusty and Shea Bolton. We've got a lot of players now that can go into the middle and rest up forward and be classy forward players. And yeah, just having the ability to interchange players and through the midfield and forward is a good asset to have.
We'll move on to today's game. We'll talk about that for a little bit. How did you see today's hit out? Like, obviously, the match didn't go the way the Tigers would have hoped, obviously, but it's only a practice match. You can't read too much into these things. But what are some of the things that you liked? What are some of the positives that you took out of this game?
Yeah, well, as I mentioned before, having Taranto and Hopper come into the mix obviously meant that the clearances, obviously Melbourne have a very good clearance game, having like Oliver, Petrarca and stuff like that. Just watching Petrarca go through the middle's just great to watch, really. Does a lot of like dusty type things. But yeah, we ended up winning the clearances overall, which was really good. And the inside 50s, we ended up winning as well. So the centre clearances, we won by 7 today, which was really good. And the clearances, we won by 1. So just being able to get first hands on the footy, I think will be good going forward throughout the year, because we never really had that last year, I think.
Yeah, I think personally, like for me, looking at our midfield now and today, as you said, like winning the clearances against Melbourne, who are a very strong clearance team, it's almost like I'd probably say Hardwick has never had such a good midfield as what he's got now. I think the midfield that Richmond have this year is probably the best under Hardwick.
Yeah, for sure. Well, we've got a lot of talent, like we said, a lot of talent that can rotate through there. But yeah, we didn't, as I said before, we didn't end up winning the inside 50s, but we ended up losing that by 1. But to lose by 50 and almost be equal in the inside 50s is, yeah, I guess it's promising, but obviously the disposal going inside 50 needs a bit of work. But I think that was an issue last year as well. But it's obviously something that we'll need to work on, but once we get it in there, hopefully we can be a bit more damaging on the scoreboard.
Yeah, that's it. And I mean, Melbourne are they've got a pretty strong defence as well. Geelong are another team that you can't really just bomb it inside 50. They'll just pick it off every time. And I think we did a lot of that today, unfortunately. Like going inside 50, it looked a bit sloppy, bombed it in high a few times. Doesn't really pay off when you've got those defenders like Stephen May and that can sort of, get in there and sort of stop the big key forwards like Tommy Lynch. So that's definitely a part of the game I think that the Tigers have to tidy up on. As you said, they were -1 inside 50s for the whole day. So, I mean, tidy that area up like going inside 50. And I think they can pick a few teams apart this year.
Yeah, I think Liam Baker had a pretty good game as well. He got 36 touches and a goal, so it was good to see him going forward and hit the scoreboard as well. I think maybe this year he'll get a bit more forward time rather than midfield forward. So he's just adding into that mix with Taranto, Dusty, Shea on the players that can rotate through. Jaden Short hit the scoreboard as well. So I think a lot of players are looking to go forward and hit the scoreboard, but this means they've got to run the other way as well, because we did give up a lot of goals today. So yeah, it's not ideal.
So now we're going to talk about some of the negatives from today's game. Obviously, you talked about us not running the other way when the opposition had the ball in hand. I noticed that as well pretty much the whole game. I'd say we were playing fairly bruise-free footy. We weren't really locking it down inside 50 like we did during our premiership years. Obviously, that relentless forward pressure is what won us a lot of games and really set us up for that success that we had. And today there was not really much of that. I think we focused on a few areas of the game. Obviously, clearances were a big one from last year. We were 16th, I think, of the comp. So a few of the areas there we've obviously touched up on over the summer. Adding Hopper and Taranto helped with that, of course. But I feel that manic forward pressure that we became known for throughout our premiership run, it just wasn't there at all today. The boys kind of backed off a lot today. The ball was sort of coming out of our forward line quite easily. Melbourne were getting out and getting up the ground quite quickly. So, yeah, I think you're spot on there about not running the other way.
Yeah, when they were going inside 50, they were really hitting the scoreboard. They were 60% efficiency going inside 50. Yeah, they went in 57 times and got 37 scoring shots. So, yeah, it just goes to show that we're not really running both ways. But, yeah, it's obviously something like a pre-season game. It's obviously something that you can improve. And I think they will. We've got a good coaching team. We'll improve on that. And then hopefully, round one against Carlton, we're ready to go. And, yeah, they address all the things that were negatives today.
So we'll move on now to some of the players themselves, some individuals. Who stood out for you in today's hit-out?
Well, obviously, Baker getting his 33 touches and a goal was good. And then, yeah, Taranto, obviously pushing forward, and he would have had a lot of inside 50s today. I think Tommy Lynch, first game back, showed a little bit to go up against May and Lever. Probably two of the better defenders in the game. Isn't an easy task first game back, especially recovering from an injury. So I think, yeah, he did not too bad. Dusty showed a bit. Obviously, it's going to take him a while to get up and going, but yeah, you know what it is pre-season games don't really mean much to him. But yeah, I think going forward, yeah, we're gonna have a pretty good season, and a few players will start to hit their stride early on the year.
What do you think about some of the young fellas that came in today and had a bit of a crack? I know Juddy Clark, you were a big fan of him off halfback.
Yeah, I think he looked really good off halfback. He's got a great left foot, really good with his disposal. I think one got picked off, and it's just something that he'll learn. He's a young fellow. We haven't really had a good left footer off the halfback since Bashahuli, so it'll be good to have someone on the left side and the right side. You got Dan Rioli running off the right back flank, and then Juddy Clark can run off the left. So yeah, that'll be good. I also like the look of Tyler Young down back. That was good. Going up against Ben Brown, he's not the greatest forward in the world, but he definitely hits the scoreboard, and I think Tyler did a pretty good job in his first game for us.
Yeah, he was an interesting inclusion. Obviously, we had no Benny Miller today, no Josh Gibcus. Robbie Tarrant was another one as well. So
yeah, we were definitely down on our defensive stocks down there. So yeah, for him to come in, I think he did a pretty good job down there.
Yeah, definitely. It was good to see a few of the other boys back that had recovered from injuries recently as well. Obviously, you've mentioned Baker had a blinder of a game, hasn't missed a step. Yeah, Nathan Broad came back from an injury as well, I think, today, and I didn't see a lot of him, but he goes under the radar a bit. Broad, he does his job every week, and it's sort of a thankless job in a way. Not a lot of people take much notice of him, but he does hold down the fort down there, and he helps out with the leadership group as well. You got Grimes, obviously. There's the co-captain of Richmond, and Floston, a few of those older defenders there, so he helps out with them.
Yeah, Broad's he's so underrated. I reckon he'd be one of the most underrated players in the comp, really. He'd be first on the team sheet every week because he just does his job week in, week out. Whoever he's playing on is going to have a hard game, really, to try at the scoreboard. But he helps off as well. He helps with Grimes and Bolter and stuff like that. He'll always be that third man up. Yeah, so I really like the look of Broad today. I thought he played really well, and yeah, he'll be better for it.
Yep, and let's talk about Noah Bolter. How good is it seeing him down back instead of all this trial and error bullshit in the forward line?
Yeah, I like sending him down back. I honestly think that he could be an All-Australian backman this year. Like 2 years ago, he really started to show a lot down back, and he reminds me a lot of Rance. Like he's a big guy, and he can take the gorillas. And yeah, he just has a lot of dash off half back, and he offers a lot offensively as well as defensively. And I think he kicked a goal today, so he can push forward and
he kicked it from inside the centre square.
Yeah, but it's good to see him not stepping foot in that forward 50.
Yeah, it is definitely 100%. I mean, you got to play these guys in their best positions. He's been a defender he was a defender, coming through the ranks for probably the first couple of years of his career. Won a premiership in 2020, obviously as a defender. So
yeah.
I mean, you got to play these guys in their best positions, and that's Bolter's best position. So hopefully Dimmer keeps him there.
Yeah, and it's just to keep the back six together as well. I feel like you got to build chemistry, and that's what we had in 2017 when we had like Rance and Asprey and Grimes, and they were all they were gelling and they had really good chemistry. They knew that each other were going to help off their player and pick off like intercept marks, and that's. Yeah, that was like a key strength for us back in 2017. So to have like Bolter and Broad and Vloss and all that, play consistent games together and get a bit of structure down there, I think it'll be good.
Yeah, that's it. Obviously, that goes without saying that they have to gel. They have to sort of learn each other's game and that, and especially new guys coming into the club as well. I thought last year Robbie Tarrant started off a bit slow, but towards the end of the year he was well cemented within our back six, and I think he deserved every game that he played towards the end of the year. He really sort of found his feet a little bit. Being an older guy, I mean, like he did look a little bit slower, a little bit caught off guard sometimes when the ball sort of fell out loose and he had to chase it or whatever. But, one-on-one, he takes those big guys as well, and that's what he's done his whole career. Even at North Melbourne, he was doing that. So, but yeah, I feel like the same is going to go for Taranto and Hopper. They're going to it's going to take a little bit of time, maybe the first, few weeks or so, see how they go. And then after that, they should sort of gel pretty well with the other boys in there in the midfield.
Yeah, for sure. I think just having Taranto and Hopper come into the mix is going to help out a lot defensively as well, obviously getting first hands on the ball.
All right. Now, the next thing we're going to take a look at is the retirement of Jason Castagna.
Yeah, look, I'm not too upset about it. If I'm being entirely honest.
I know exactly where you're coming from. I agree with you as well. I mean, nothing against Castagna as
he did win us 3 premierships. Yeah, well, he didn't. Like, he's no dusty.
Yeah, nothing against Castagna as a person or anything, but yeah, I do feel the last few years the game has sort of gone past him a bit, and a few of the younger guys on the list as well. They've sort of stepped up and gone past what he can offer us at the top level.
Yeah, I mean, what a blessing getting rid of Arts and Castagna in one off season. Like, I think that was like a Richmond supporter's dream. I think just to get rid of them too. But
a lot of Richmond supporters are definitely on the backs of those two blokes. Yeah, I mean, look, it's a hard one with footy, and I've had my criticisms of a whole myriad of players over the years. Like everyone's got a whipping boy, I guess, and the last probably 2 years or so, like Castagna and Arts, like yourself, they were probably the two whipping boys on the list, and a lot of other Richmond supporters are probably the same. I mean, look, it's nothing, as I said, nothing against those guys as people or anything. It's just, from a footy perspective, you want to win as a fan. Obviously, you're like the coaches and that want to win as well. I'm not saying they don't or anything, but there were kind of a few times where these guys were getting games over some of the young kids that could have been getting some experience, and they didn't really help us win games or anything. So it kind of makes you think, was it worth playing them in a way?
Yeah, I think but credit to him, like he's 26 and he knew that he probably wasn't going to be getting a game like consistently this year. So to hang up the boots at 26, without getting many injuries, I don't think he was injured much. Like, you don't want to go on until you're 30, 31 and you start getting injured. Like, he called it quits and he's got his 3 premierships. So, good on him. I think it's a great thing for him. But yeah, going back to him taking players' spots and stuff, like younger kids' opportunities, I think you see that towards the end of last year, Morris Jr. started to go past him, and Judson Clark, who obviously is playing on the halfback flank at the moment, but Even going with like Cochin going up forward, like I think he would have really struggled to get in the team.
Is when Cumberland came in as well. Cumberland was another one that sort of took another forward spot. So,
like I just think that you'd much rather have, say, Cochin in the forward line. Like Cochin isn't going to hit the scoreboard as much as, say, Castagna maybe, but like his forward pressure is going to be relentless up there. Like that he's a hard tackler and he'll do anything for the team. So it was just going to be hard for Jason to find a spot in the team, I think.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. But in any case, all the best to him on his retirement anyway. I mean, yeah, it's well earned. That sort of 3 years from sort of 2017 to about 2019, he was definitely a best 22 player for most of that period. And
solid contributor.
He was a solid contributor, went in, did his job every week. The obviously the manic forward pressure, especially 2017 when
him
he had
and
Dan
Butler down there, But we got rid of Butler, or he left us, but that's no big loss anyway because he's a bit of a spud. So
we've managed to fill those spots. So I think the list management team have done exceptionally well.
Especially over the last few years, knowing that we got rid of Butler and we're getting fair prices for him as well. And I think that's a good thing about Richmond is that if someone wants to move on, then we're not going to stand in their way. If they want to get more opportunity somewhere else, and as long as the other team's willing to cough up a fair price, which I think we get bent over a little bit on sometimes, but. Yeah, I think that's what's good about the culture, and you see Brandon Ellis and stuff when he went to Gold Coast, he always catches up with the Richmond boys and stuff like that.
But Marby or Chol as well.
Yeah, and they just went for more opportunities. Alice was going to get paid more, and stuff like that. But I think that's the Richmond culture and the brotherhood shining through. That we're not going to stand in anyone's way if they want to do what's best for them.
Yeah, that's it. I have to say, one of the boys that has moved on, I mentioned him just then, Marby or Chol. I was actually quite happy for him last year. I think he was in Gold Coast best 22 all year. I think he kicked about 40 goals for the year, didn't he?
Yeah, I think he played pretty well.
Yeah, he played pretty well.
I don't follow Gold Coast that much. They're not the most exciting team in the world.
Yeah, I know. But he got a lot more opportunity up there, and when you're in his position, why wouldn't you? But good on him. I was happy to see him, happy up there, enjoying himself, playing some good footy as well. So, he's always had that potential in that, and he showed glimpses of it at Richmond. But ultimately, as what happens with some of these guys, they leave for more opportunity to play senior footy, obviously. But so that, I think
Dan Butler was much the same as well. He went to St Kilda and started to show a lot more than what he did at Richmond. But it's just
Higgins as well, I'd say.
Yeah, they just got a bit more opportunity at at the time a bit of a lesser club.
Yeah.
Who don't have many small forwards, and good on them though. So
that's it. I think Chol is from Queensland originally, isn't he? I think.
Yeah, maybe just went home.
Yeah,
and then got
that could have been another
back with
factor
family
as well,
and stuff.
Yeah, you tend to see that a lot across the competition in general now. A lot of players are moving back home, after a couple of years, which is, it's funny because the two expansion clubs came in and they were handed everything on a silver platter, which obviously they need to be given certain resources and that to.
Yeah, but Melbourne also gets handed everything on a platter as well. So
well, that's another issue entirely. But
Benny Kirsten will love that one. He loves the D's.
That's another thing entirely. But as far as the two expansion clubs, I mean that's expected when new clubs come in. Obviously, the AFL is going to prop them up and try and get them going and try and sort of get them up to the same level as the rest of the competition. But it's just funny now how a lot of the players
just come to Richmond.
Yeah, a lot of the players that they started with,
them all anyway.
Yeah, they're all leaving for other clubs, and we're seeing that a lot across the competition now. Is players that are being drafted to clubs.
Francis did it as well. He's a mama's boy though. He was only in Victoria for 12 months and then he wanted to go back home. So, but it's just a glory hunter thing really. He just doesn't want to work hard for his spot. So he just, goes to Port Adelaide. So.
All right. So we'll move on to the Carlton preview, round 1 at the MCG. It's the traditional season opener. What are your expectations for that? Your thoughts? How do you think the Tigers will prepare?
Yeah, I think we'll go all right. I think the pre-season has shown that we've addressed a few areas that we needed to address, like the clearances and stuff like that. And that'll be a big midfield battle. You got Cripps and I think Welsh is out.
Welsh is out. Yeah.
So hopefully we'll get a bit of a leg up in the centre clearances and get first use of the footy going forward. And then I don't think like defense is that strong. So hopefully like Lynch will be one out with his opponent most of the game. And then, yeah, just like I said before, with all the class going forward, like Shay and Dusty, like if you can get Dusty one out in the forward 50, like it's going to be hard to handle him and all the other guys rolling through there. Yeah, so I think, yeah, that's one area of the ground that we can definitely get on top of Carlton is the midfield forward. But they're like, yeah, you just got to, obviously like today against Melbourne, just run both ways, because otherwise if you don't, then you got Charlie and Mackay down there. So it's just going to be hard for our defenders to match up on them.
Yeah, that's it. And especially if the ball is going in there quickly like it did in round one last year. Obviously, Prestia went down in the second quarter, I think it was. And then after that, we got smashed in the clearances. And that sort of first part of the fourth quarter, Carlton stacked on, what was it, about 4 or 5 goals or something in quick succession. And that's sort of where the game was lost, because we were losing the clearances, like every single clearance out of the centre we were losing.
Yeah.
And the ball was just going in so
horrible.
fast and catching our defenders off guard. So I think now, hopefully with Hopper and Taranto, we can sort of mitigate that and stop that from happening. Well, I mean, we beat Carlton.
Are you going to go with 2 ruckmen, or are you going to just go with 1? What do you reckon about the... because you've got that new rule as well, the interchange sub, you don't need to be a medical sub or anything.
So it's a sub, yeah.
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 So you're going to go with Soldo, sub him out, or you're just going to go for like a bit of an X factor player, like Rioli Jr. or something like that?
Yeah. Look, I don't know what we do there. I think who's Carlton's ruckman? Have they got 2 or are they?
I don't even know, so they can't be that great. Yeah, I'd have to do a bit of research on that, but
yeah,
not all that sure. Like I think against like someone with like Melbourne, like you're obviously going to go with 2 rucks with like Gawn and Grundy.
Try saying that fast 5 times.
Yeah, Gawn, Grundy. Hey, I think I did it. No, there's only 3.
That's 3, yeah. Learn to count, mate.
But yeah, I think I'd probably just go with the one ruckman in round 1. And yeah, see how we go with that. I like the idea of having Ralph Smith coming off the interchange as a sub. I think he offers a lot, like dashing down the wing, and offers a lot. He can go forward, and he runs both ways as well, which is good.
Yeah, that's it. He can find a lot of space with the ball in hand, or even without the ball in hand as well. Like he tends to get himself out in the open, and he can cause a bit of damage with his speed running down the wing. He's a good use of the ball too. He's a good kick. So
yeah. I think it's going to be big if we have Taran back or not. Like just being able to have that other gorilla that can take Mackay or Kerno. Because I just can't see where Carlton get on top of us, like anywhere around the ground. Where especially with Walsh being out, he's going to be a big loss for them. So yeah, as long as we can mitigate them going forward and slow them down, then yeah, I think we should be able to get a win.
Yeah, that's it, definitely. So what do you reckon the crowd's going to be for round 1? Do you reckon it's going to tick over 85,000?
Yeah, I think so. Like Carlton fans obviously they won the grand final in round 1 last year, the way they celebrated. So look, good luck to them. But yeah, they'll probably be out in droves this year. Thinking that they're going to make the finals, but as every other year, it's probably just going to all come shattering down, hopefully, in round 22, which was good to see.
That was one of the best things I've seen that didn't involve my own club in a footy match ever. The only thing that could have topped that is if Geelong had have lost the grand final. Then I would have been so happy. Yeah,
but just saying, like, I've never actually barracked for Collingwood in my life, but God, it was actually good seeing them when you find yourself saying, like, go Collingwood, and you're like, why am I saying this?
Yeah, you feel filthy, but you just want Carlton to choke so badly. It's like... Yeah.
But look, Suffer, like, they're scum, really, Carlton. Everyone really likes them. So, look, couldn't have happened to a better club, I think.
Yeah, that's it, definitely. All right, so now we're going to talk expectations for 2023. So, win-loss.
I don't really want to put a win-loss. I think if we can get, what do you got, 23 or 24 games this year? I don't know. 23?
3, I think.
23 games, 24 rounds, I think, because you got that bye in there. So I think if you can get 16 wins, like you're going 16-7, then I think that'd be enough for top 4. I would have thought, and I think the expectation this year should definitely be top 4.
Yep, I agree 100%. I reckon top 4, especially with the new inclusions. I mean, I know today's practice match didn't look too crash hot, but as I said, it's just a hit out. You can't really take much out of that in terms
and Melbourne's going to be a good team this year as well.
Yeah,
they dropped off a little bit last year, but they're a class team. So
Yeah, that's it. I mean, they'll be fighting for top four as well, most likely. Melbourne, and I reckon probably Brisbane and Geelong would be the other two teams.
Yeah, I would have thought that. Like Sydney's obviously going to be back up there. They've got a really young team, Sydney, so I think they'll do all right.
Yeah,
What's
they
the
do.
team that? How do you think our win-loss record will shape out this year?
Look, yeah, I reckon like if we're aiming for top four, then yeah, whatever the minimum is to get there. So if we're saying 16 games,
Yeah,
I
I think
reckon,
15 or 16 would be
Yeah.
the minimum.
yeah,
You would
about
have thought.
16 games, I reckon. Yeah, so yeah, obviously aiming for top four. All right, let's talk about the competition in general.
Yeah.
So we're going to do which team we reckon is going to go into the 8 and which team's going to fall out. So who do you reckon is going to fall out?
I am going with Collingwood to fall out. I don't know. Yeah, look, they had a pretty cruisy run last year, and look, they've lost Grundy. I know they've got like Nick Dacos, who's going to improve again, but Pendlebury's getting on. I don't rate their forward line all that much. And Grundy's going to be a big loss for them. Like, he's a good player. They didn't get much for him in return. They got Bobby Hill in, but yeah, I don't think they did much in the off season. I think and even losing like Treloar there 2 or 3 last off seasons. Like, I don't really rate how they handled it. They give all these players big contracts, and then they get themselves in salary cap trouble.
Yeah.
And then, they just got to trade them off. And because they're in so much strife in the salary cap, they can't really demand much for them.
Yeah, that's it. And I think also, like with their forward line as well, it's the smaller guys like Elliott and
De Goey can go through there
De Goey
as well.
But I feel like keeping those blokes on the park. I mean, like De Goey, I don't think has had many injuries, but obviously it's his off-field issues. If he
and he's hit and miss. He's very hit and miss.
Yeah.
Like one game he'll look as good as Dusty, and the next game, like he's a Jason Castagna. So
yeah, that's it. I definitely think Elliott is Collingwood's most dangerous forward.
Yeah, 100%.
But he's had injury issues, so it's going to be interesting to see whether he can keep his body right this year.
Yeah, and I think they'll get a much harder draw as well this year. Like obviously with that 6-6-6 scaling, with the fixture and the rolling fixture, then I'm not too sure how they're going to go. I just can't see them making the 8. I think they'll be the one that drops out. But when I say drop out, maybe 9th or 10th. It'd be good to see them finish 9th.
Yeah, it would. Yeah, we can finally give them shit for a change. But anyway, which team do you reckon will jump into the 8?
Well, I think Port. I'm not going to say Carlton. It'd be good to see Carlton and Collingwood finish 9th and 10th. That'd be great for the competition, I think.
It'd be great for Richmond supporters.
Yeah, it'd be great for Richmond. And then Essendon's obviously just going to bottom out. So if they can come last, Carlton, Collingwood 9th and 10th. And then if we win the flag, that'd be great.
I know, it'd be a great year, especially if we beat Geelong in the grand final. That'd just top it off.
Yeah. I don't know. Like, Geelong could drop out, but I just don't know. I think...
They never do, though.
Yeah, they never do. Look, as much as we don't like Geelong, I know that us two don't like Geelong. I'm not sure about other Richmond supporters and supporters around the league, but... Yeah, they're just hard to deal with, I think. But they're a class club, though, and they always, I wouldn't say they're a class club. Old mate knocked out Prestia last year. What's his name? Tom Stewart.
Tom Stewart, yeah.
Their coach comes out and says that he's a great bloke and stuff when
he just
he just knocked out our best midfielder.
Yeah.
But
and then they only beat us by 3 points, and they scored a goal while Prestia was on the fucking ground too.
Yeah, I know, absolute dogs. But I just can't see Geelong dropping out at all. I think they're too classy in the midfield and all that. So
I think the one thing that could stop Geelong though is in finals. I mean, Dangerfield's their captain now. He stood up last year in finals, but he's never stood up when Richmond were in the finals. So
yeah, for sure. I think the one team though, going back to a team that I think can get in, I think like Port may make that jump. Like they've obviously been top 4 for a few years now, and then they dropped out last year. But they got like Horn Francis and like the Miss Geordiades is going to develop a little bit more. And you got Charlie Dixon down there still. Like he's getting on a little bit, but he still offers a lot. He's a bit like Jack Rewald, just does his job every week.
Yeah.
Like he'll kick his like 1.5 to 2 goals a game. And if he kicks 40 goals for the year, like that's more than enough to offer support to Georgiades. Then they're probably the only place where they're a bit shaky, Port Adelaide, would be their defence. But I could probably see them making the jump in. I'm not sure about like the expansion clubs like Gold Coast and GWS. Gold Coast are young, but Yeah, I
don't
don't
think
know.
they're quite ready to make
Yeah,
that
I don't
leap.
think they're
Yeah.
quite ready, but they should be.
Well, Fremantle got in last year, and they've got a young list as well. So, I mean, Gold Coast
that's another
might,
team
but
that
yeah.
could make a bit more of it. They finished fifth this year. The last year, I think they may have finished
I need
fifth.
to check that. Maybe they did. I think.
Yeah, if they
yeah.
finish fifth, like they could even jump into the top four, but they don't travel very well. So they do get. They say that they have to travel a lot, but then like they get 11 genuine home games every year.
Yeah, that's it.
So-
Whereas when like Richmond, Collingwood, Hawthorn, Melbourne all play each other,
we
it's a
only
neutral
get
ground,
5,
so it's,
really.
yeah,
Over the court, well, that's the other thing. Like, I feel like all the interstate clubs just complain about their fixture and their draw and how much they got to travel, but they genuinely get 11 home games every year. Whereas, like I said, we only get 4 or 5, and then like the other 5 or 6 are all against Melbourne teams. So, like, Richmond playing Collingwood at the MCG I wouldn't really call that a home game.
No, doesn't
Like, we
benefit
just get
either
the ticket
team.
sales. That's about it.
Yeah, doesn't benefit either team.
Nah.
Yeah. So all right, so Port to jump in, Collingwood to miss.
Yeah, well, that's what I think. Would you agree with that, or are you going with something different?
I was kind of looking at the Bulldogs to miss.
Okay.
I don't know about the Bulldogs. I don't know if they've got.
They did lose Lockie
Dunkley
Hunter
and Dunkley.
Yeah,
as well.
Lockie Hunter and Dunkley. Yeah. So like they'll be 2 pretty big losses. I think Lockie Hunter's pretty underrated, like just running the wing, and on the other side to like McRae. Like McRae and Hunter used to just rack up the ball, like a lot of soft touches, but they got the ball. So yeah, and Dunkley's obviously a big loss for them. So yeah, I could agree with that and seeing them drop out. But yeah, I can probably only see like Port jumping in. Like I can't see St Kilda doing much because I still feel like. Yeah, once again, their defense. I just don't really think that. I keep going back to the defense, but I don't know. Like without Melbourne's obviously the standout defensive team of the league, and I'd say Richmond probably have a good one as well, and Geelong just the way they set up behind the ball as well. A lot like Richmond, like they offer help to each other.
See, Brisbane's defense is all right, but
they got Harris Andrews, which is good.
But I probably wouldn't put their defense quite on par with the other 3 teams we mentioned.
Yeah.
They'd be probably just below that.
And they just got that young fella, the father-son.
Ashcroft?
Yeah, he looks really good.
Yeah.
The 2 preseason games, he's been averaging about 25 touches, so he'll probably be as good as Dacos from Collingwood from last year. But yeah, I think Collingwood out, Port in. I think that's my in and out for the 8 this year. If we were to pick one team to go in and out.
Yep, and so Collingwood obviously dropping out of the 8, they'd drop out of top 4 obviously as well. But so Richmond into the 4 for Collingwood.
Yeah, well that's what I'm going with.
And then Collingwood out of the 8 for Port. So
yeah, so I'm probably going. My top 4 would probably be Richmond, Melbourne. Melbourne look good today, and I think getting Grundy and Gawn, like you don't really know how it's going to work.
Yeah,
but. Yeah, they look pretty good today. Just having like Gawn can go forward, like he's an absolute monster.
Yeah,
and he's a good kick. So yeah, I'd go Richmond.
The problem with
Melbourne.
Gawn as well, he's so much taller than everyone else. He gets a lot of free kicks for chopping the arms and that sort of thing.
Yeah, I mean, Richmond wouldn't get them free kicks, but
I mean, some of them
that's a whole new topic.
Some of them are a bit soft, of course, but all the umpire has to do is see that arm go across and they call it.
Yeah.
Unless it happens to Tommy Lynch or
so I'm
Jack
probably
Riewoldt.
going Richmond, Melbourne, probably Brisbane. I think will go top 4. I think that like they obviously get their big home games, like 11 of them, and the one that they like cross over with is Gold Coast. So it's pretty much like a home game because Gold Coast have no fans. And then you're not going to take the premiers out of the top 4, I guess, as much as you hate to say it. But yeah, so Geelong, Brisbane, Melbourne, and Richmond for me. What are you going for your top 4 this year?
Those 4, because I don't think Sydney will make top 4. Top 8, but I don't think they'll make top 4. Yeah. But probably the 2 teams I can see maybe dropping out of the 8 would be Collingwood and Bulldogs.
Yeah.
I don't know about Fremantle though. I mean, they had a good year last year, as you said. All right, they won.
It'd be good to see if they can back it up though.
Yeah,
because they got a good young team coming through. Like Andy Brayshaw and Nat Fyfe will be back.
Yep.
So
he's
it'll be
playing
good.
more forward this year.
Yeah,
so
and he's always
more of what
great
Dusty's
to
sort
watch.
of doing this year. So
he's always good to watch. So it'd be interesting to see how Fremantle go this year. But Yeah, I'm pretty positive about our season. I think, if like top 4 is definitely the goal, but top 8 at an absolute minimum this year for sure.
Yeah, that's it. Nothing less.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think definitely with the new additions and stuff like that, then we can definitely make a push for it for sure.
All right. Well, that's us done for today. So that's our first podcast, episode 1 of Richmond Till I Die.
Yeah, no, it was
Almost
really
forgot
good.
what we called the fucking podcast, but anyway.
Yeah. It's good. Thanks for having me, Travi.
Oh, no worries, Lukey. We're definitely going to be doing more of this throughout the season. So
I think I'll probably try for every 2 or 3 weeks.
Yeah, every couple of weeks. I think we'll just do it in blocks.
Just recap, recap the last couple of weeks and see what's coming forward.
Yep, that's it. See how the Tigers are going and take a little bit of a look at the rest of the comp as well. Not too in depth because we don't really care about them that much. But
we'll just look, if Carlton's not going too well, then we'll definitely pay attention to that.
Yeah, definitely, because I think we'll be going around to every Carlton supporter's house that we know and just like thumping the Richmond theme song as loud as we can.
Yeah, no, that'd be good.
Yeah.
But we might have to get a special guest on or something one day. That'd be good too.
Definitely, might have to get a few of the other boys in. We'll
get Jay Frampton from the cheer squad. That'd be good to see.
He's a special one, Jay Frampton.
He is. He's out of the cheer squad and he's not full enough anymore. So,
yep. So if you want to hear about a transformation from a cheer squad nuffy to just a regular nuffy.
Yeah, just a genuinely good bloke.
He is a good bloke. A bit of a nuffy, but a good bloke.
Yeah, then we could definitely get Jay on here and see what he has to say. He'd give us, I reckon he'd talk for an hour, Jay Frey.
Yeah, he probably will. We've been talking for a bit, I think.
Yeah, how long are we going on for?
Oh, what are we up to?
We can cut all this out.
Yeah, I don't have the time. I can cut this out anyway. Right, thanks for joining us. This was episode 1 of Richmond Till I Die. We hope you listen to us more later.
Like and subscribe, as they say.
Follow us on YouTube. No, we're not going to be on. Are we going to be on YouTube?
I don't know. We'll see where it takes us, mate.
We'll see how the podcast
keep
goes.
cracking on.
It's a bit of a fuck around sort of thing, this, so we'll just see how it goes.
No, but if you like it, definitely let us know. And you'll find us at the footy for sure.
Definitely, and stay tuned because this year we are going to be doing Train Talk.
Train Talk will make a reappearance.
A favourite segment that Lukey used to. We'll talk about it in a couple of weeks anyway. But
that can be a whole new episode by itself. I think
we're going to try and get some Train Talk back up and running this year.
We could even just do like a special episode on trips home from the footy on the train. I reckon we've got a few grouse ones.
We could, we do. We've got quite a few good ones.
No, beauty.
Yep. All right. No worries, Lukey. So we'll see you in a couple of weeks.
No worries, mate. I'll see you then.
See you, mate.